Hello, welcome back to Milkman Channel. Today I will be going in-depth and very much into spoiler territory for Half-Life 1/Black Mesa. The original game is 25 years old at this point, so I don't even think this warning is necessary, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Also, although I am specifically talking about Black Mesa, given the nature of what Black Mesa is, a lot of what I say can also be applied to the original version of Half-Life 1. And I'm also going to be talking about the final boss of the game, but I actually finished this game on my Lenovo Legion Go, so I don't have footage of that boss fight. Classic me. And so I'll just throw some pictures up on screen and credit where I got them from, so you guys can see what I'm talking about there. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. There are very few names in the gaming space that are as prominent as Valve. Nowadays, Valve is known for mainly three things. They are the creators, owners, and operators of Steam, the foremost popular PC game store/launcher, developing some games occasionally. They don't do this often, but when they do it, it is usually a home run. And the most recent of the three, developing and releasing the Steam Deck, the first widespread successful handheld gaming PC. They weren't the first to create a handheld gaming PC, but in my mind, they were the ones to really bring the space mass attention and bring in serious competition. I want to focus on their game development for now. Their list of games include many heavy hitter series like Portal, Team Fortress, Left 4 Dead, and Half-Life. They do own and operate Counter-Strike now, but that game was not originally created by them. Now, if you look those series up, you'll notice a trend. As far as mainline numbered entries are concerned, they only ever get up to 2. Every series I mentioned suffers from this, and it is not due to lack of success. Valve-developed games are some of the highest regarded games ever created, oftentimes being an all-time great and forever a classic. However, this has not stopped fans of Valve games demanding third entries. Unfortunately, Valve has yet to deliver a third entry to any of the series mentioned, resulting in an ongoing trend/joke that Valve doesn't know how to count to 3. Now that we talked about Valve's game history, let's focus on the Half-Life series, arguably the series that most people want to get the mythical third game treatment, with the last mainline entry, Half-Life 2, being released all the way back in 2004, followed by some shorter experiences that continue the story in the form of Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and Episode 2, being released in 2006 and 2007 respectively. Since then, the gaming world has been clamoring for Half-Life 3, but so far to no avail, with the only major Half-Life release since Half-Life 2 and its episodes being Half-Life Alyx, a VR-only experience that released on March 23, 2020 for Windows and May 15th for Linux, that took place between Half-Life 1 and 2. Back in 2007, Half-Life 2 and its episodes were released on Xbox 360 and PS3 through the Orange Box, an absolutely swinging deal that scored you Half-Life 2, its episodes, the game Portal, and the game Team Fortress 2, all for only $60. As a child, my brother and I had an Xbox 360, and through a series of events that elude my memory, I ended up with a copy of the Orange Box, and I barely played half the games on it. We didn't have high-speed internet, meaning I was unable to game online, so Team Fortress 2 was barely touched. Puzzle games aren't really my thing on account of me being retarded, so I never really vibed with Portal. Half-Life 2 though. Half-Life 2 I jived with, to say the least. I fell in love with City 17 and the surrounding area. I fell in love with the eerie and horror feeling portrayed by Ravenholm. I fell in love with the creativity on display, personally digging the design of the Striders and fighting them at the end of Episode 2. So it's safe to say I didn't play the Orange Box. I played Half-Life 2. Now for years and years, I have loved my experience with Half-Life 2 as I have played through the main game and its episodes countless times. And as invested as I was into the series, I have never played the original Half-Life, only its successor. But after all these years, I decided it was time to do what was long overdue: play Half-Life 1. Now there are two choices today if you want to play Half-Life 1. You can either play the original version, graphics and all, or play an updated and remastered version known as Black Mesa, which is originally a fan-made mod but turned into an official Valve-published game. I chose the latter, as it is only $10 more and substantially better looking, and I am very, very glad I did. So let's dig a little deeper into Black Mesa. Black Mesa started life originally as a fan-made mod developed by a group of people known as the Crowbar Collective for the original Half-Life and was released as a mod in September of 2012. However, Valve took notice of the project and loved the idea, so Black Mesa became an officially Valve-published standalone game that saw an early access release in May 2015 and finally left the early access period and fully released in March 2020 onto PC, which is where all footage you are seeing was captured from. In Black Mesa / Half-Life 1, you play as Gordon Freeman, a theoretical physicist working at the Black Mesa Research Facility. On Gordon's to-do list for the day was to take part in an experiment where he pushes a mass of supposed alien origin crystals into an anti-mass spectrometer, a machine designed to analyze materials. However, once the crystals enter the machine, chaos ensues as the machine starts to malfunction and break down, eventually leading to an explosion, knocking out Freeman. Upon regaining consciousness, you find out that the crystals combined with the machine to open an interdimensional rift, allowing alien life forms from the dimension of Zen to enter Earth and try to take over the planet. Freeman is then tasked with not only trying to put an end to the alien invasion, but he also has to fend off military forces as the government tries to wipe the existence of the Black Mesa Research Facility and all of its workers off the planet to try and hide the disaster. Now, from what I can tell, all the changes from Half-Life 1 to Black Mesa are all visual and audio changes. Gameplay has not changed. As far as I know, please let me know if this is incorrect in the comments. The decision to not change the core of the game and its story or gameplay was probably the best decision they could make. The original Half-Life 1 was released for PC all the way back in 1998, and it's safe to say it still holds up today. Now, I'm not saying it plays like a brand new game. This is, at its core, a nearly 30-year-old game, and it shows that it's not brand new, but not as bad as you would think. I had a blast running around the many areas, taking down humans and aliens alike. Although the AI is a little primitive, as enemies just kind of wander around a bit and not really take cover in the middle of a firefight, this is counterbalanced by the weapons feeling great to shoot. Much like Half-Life 2, you can't really aim down sights with the exception of a couple weapons, which for me personally is a little bothersome in this game. But despite that making the shooting feel a little clunky, the weapons themselves are a joy to use. Each one is fun to shoot, and the more powerful ones really feel like they pack a punch, my favorites being the shotgun and the Magnum. I was even impressed to see the weapon variety being greater than that of Half-Life 2 if I am remembering correctly. The arsenals are largely the same as far as I can remember, but to see the first game in the series having wider weapon variety was a pleasant surprise. But the weapons were also the source of my main complaint with this game, and that was the lack of controller support. Normally, I wouldn't bitch about this, as I understand I'm a bit of a rarity, being someone who often games on PC, but almost exclusively uses a controller. And in fairness, the controller support is 95% there. The only issue I had while playing on controller came from swapping weapons. On keyboard, you can swap weapons using the number keys to select one of several categories of weapons, then picking the specific one you want from there. You may even be able to use the scroll wheel to pick a weapon. I might be wrong on that, as I didn't even try it in all honesty. On controller, I could only use my right bumper button to select the next weapon in line. This means to switch guns, I just had to mash the button and cycle through until I got to the one I wanted. And the cycling only goes in one direction, so if I accidentally went past the one I wanted, which happened a lot, especially during tense firefights, I just had to quickly mash the button and cycle through my whole arsenal again until I returned to the weapon I wanted. I would give more leeway to Black Mesa in this aspect if Half-Life was strictly PC exclusive series, but that is just not the case. Although Half-Life games always start as PC exclusives, both Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 have seen console releases as well. Half-Life 1 was released on the PS2 in 2001, and Half-Life 2 was released on the original Xbox in 2005, as well as on Xbox 360 and PS3 through the previously mentioned Orange Box. So the Half-Life series has had over 20 years to gain a console-centric fanbase, starting with the game that kicked the series off. Now, I know Black Mesa is only available on PC, so die-hard console players don't have access to it unless they have a PC as well. But with Windows operating system and Xbox both being made by Microsoft, plugging in and using a current-gen Xbox controller to your PC is often a seamless experience. And I'm willing to bet most PC gamers have at least one controller on hand, ready to use when they need it. And there are gamers like me, who have no loyalty to platforms and game on a multitude of systems and prefer a controller over mouse and keyboard. I get that this was originally a fan-made project that was being made by just a group of passionate, talented people, but especially once they got financial backing from Valve, and with this being the best way to play the original Half-Life, I would have thought they would have put more effort into the controller side of things as, like I said, the Half-Life series had a long and prosperous life with controller gamers. Just a little bit surprising to me, especially since they are so close. What wasn't a surprise was when I traveled to the alien dimension of Zen. With me being a lifelong gamer and knowing about the Half-Life universe, I knew long before playing this game that Gordon and the player traveled to Zen. What I was shocked by was how I felt when going there. Despite knowing it was coming, I still felt like a true interdimensional explorer stepping foot for the first time in unknown lands. Despite the game making it very clear you are not the first human in Zen, as you find out that many other scientists have been there to gather samples and data before eventually suffering a deadly fate, I felt like I was a real pioneer and the first to step foot in this world. And this is all helped by the updated visuals. I may have felt this way a little bit if I were to play the original version, but to see much newer visuals with the updated textures and vibrant colors was amazing. And for me personally, this all culminates when you encounter the Nihilanth, the leader of the alien force and the final boss of the game. I've seen images of the original design for this character, and it is largely just a low-poly pixelated mess, but in Black Mesa, it is a highly detailed creature with a distinct menacing face as it floats over you, ready to get the job of killing Gordon Freeman done itself. However, I felt the boss fight against the Nihilanth, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, it's jumbled up quite crazy, it's quite a crazy looking word, was a little tedious. The fight on the surface is quite simple. He has a ball shield around him that you must destroy chunks of and then shoot through the created holes to damage the being himself, eventually leading to him tipping his head back as the flesh and skull unfold into a blooming flower, allowing Gordon to deliver the final killing blow to the alien overlord's brain. Obviously, the Nihilanth fights back, with attacks that not only cover a great area, but also deal massive damage. The large area they cover make the attacks hard to dodge, and the damage they deal make the toll they take on your health no small concern. You are able to offset this damage though by 2 healing stations placed in the boss arena, one for your health and one for your HEV suit, which acts as an armor through the whole game to recharge. The issue comes with where these stations are placed, as they are not close to one another, and due to me often receiving large amounts of damage, I often found myself spending more time dashing between these 2 healing stations than I did actually fighting. It was still a fun fight and I enjoyed the battle, but during the fight, I did find myself a little frustrated by how often I had stopped fighting back and go into survival mode just to heal up and dash around. But that Nihilanth, man, it was so cool to see him and it sent shivers down my spine. And if it sent shivers down my spine, I can only imagine how Gordon may have felt, which leads me to my final point I want to discuss. And that point is Gordon Freeman himself. I always thought he was a badass from playing Half-Life 2. In that game, he fights the alien forces of the Combine, the main enemies in Half-Life 2, and pushes them back to near submission as Gordon destroys their main base of operations and eventually helps close their portal to Earth in Episode 2. There isn't a thing Gordon does that isn't badass, but one thing I didn't understand was how he was regarded as one of the greatest video game characters ever created. He's a silent protagonist who doesn't have a voice, which always bothered me honestly, and he gets treated almost as a messiah by everyone in Half-Life 2, which for the longest time confused me. This obviously got cleared up once I started diving deeper into the lore and backstory of Half-Life, but I never thought super highly of Gordon as a character. Black Mesa changed that. It is one thing to know about the events one character endures, that's a whole nother thing to actually partake in them. Gordon Freeman, a nerdy scientist, is turned into humanity's savior and an interdimensional warrior. Tell me that isn't badass as fuck. But the part about Gordon's character that I really fell in love with comes from the ending of Black Mesa. After defeating the Nihilanth, you are greeted by the G-Man, a mysterious figure who, even to this day, very little is known about. He gives you the choice to either work for him and his unknown employers or decline the offer and enter a fight you cannot win. You can decline the job offer, resulting in Gordon's death, but the game and universe want you to accept the offer, as the sequel game assumes that's the choice you made. So I did just that, the results being Gordon getting put into a stasis, awaiting to be awoken when needed. To my understanding, which is very unconfirmed as I could not find a lot of info on this online at all, Gordon's job with the G-Man is to partake in a cataclysmic-esque events and make sure they go as planned. Tell me that isn't badass. Gordon is like insurance in a way, as he makes sure things get done the way they are supposed to, and eradicates anyone who gets in his way. just to be put to sleep after and awoken when needed. Actually, playing through the events of Half-Life 1 gave me a new respect for Gordon, and gave me a new perspective of not only Half-Life 2, but Gordon as a character, and I now see why he is held to such high regard in the gaming character landscape. All in all, I am beyond thrilled with my time spent playing Black Mesa. I finally got to experience an all-time great game, and did so with the best possible visuals. I've always thought that the Half-Life series possesses one of the most interesting worlds and lore in all of gaming, and Black Mesa really proved that once more. I have read a lot about the world of Half-Life and the events of Half-Life 1, but it was such a nicer experience to be able to play through these events. It really makes me fall in love with the world even more than I already was. As much as I love Half-Life 2, Black Mesa / Half-Life 1 could trade punches with it all day long as they fight for my favorite. If anything, I think I am leaning more to the side of Half-Life 1 being the better entry, but make no mistake, both are all-time classics. Half-Life 1, and in turn Black Mesa, may only be named after a Half-Life, but they deserve many full lives of praise and rightfully stand amongst the all-time great video games.
Winning? Rather an anticlimax after what you've just survived. Wisely done, Mr. Freeman. I will see you up ahead.
Truly had a blast with Black Mesa. I was expecting to like it, but even I am shocked with just how much enjoyment I got out of this game. I couldn't recommend it more for anyone looking for a great action-packed sci-fi adventure. For the next game, I am once again stepping out of my comfort zone and really going all in on the sci-fi here, and going to be trying the newly released Pacific Drive. Survival games are normally very much not my thing, but this one seems so different that I have to try it. I'll definitely be making a video on that game detailing my thoughts and experiences, whether I love it, hate it, or somewhere in between. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that video when it comes out. So as any other of my videos I put out on food, or maybe a little bonus game video, who knows. Also hit that post notification bell to really make sure you don't miss it. Please, I'm fucking begging you. But until then, thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen to me yammer on about what is at its core a nearly 30-year-old game. Oh, I hope you had even a fraction of the entertainment from this video that I got from playing the game. If you like this video, make sure to tell YouTube that and hit that thumbs up button, as it goes a long way in helping me out here on this giant platform. And lastly, you already know what's up. Let's talk about Half-Life in the comments. Anything Half-Life I want to hear about, both positive and negative things you want to say, as Half-Life is something that is more than interesting to me, and I would love to chit-chat about it further with you guys. That's all I got for today. I'll chat with you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.